Welcome back, everybody. This is Retro Replay with a retro review of Ivan the Ironman Stewart's Super Off-Road for the Nintendo Entertainment System. Super Off-Road was released in 1989 and developed and published by Leland Corporation and Rare. This is definitely an early banger from Rare. The original arcade version of this game was only a 3-player game, even though there's 4 vehicles on the track. But the Nintendo Entertainment System version is actually a 4-player game. So you can get 3 of your most attractive gamer friends together with you, an NES 4-score adapter, and you can play 4-player on this game. Super Off-Road is a pretty simple and straightforward racing game. It's obviously a dirt track racing game. You can see the whole track at the same time on the screen, so there's no scrolling or anything like that. There's just 4 vehicles going around the track racing each other. There's a variety of different tracks with different layouts. Often through the game, especially through the first series of 14 qualifying races, the tracks repeat themselves a lot. I think there's only 4 tracks in the qualifying races, and you end up racing them forwards and backwards. In this footage here, I am the pink car, and I believe the gray car is supposed to be Ivan Ironman Stewart. The gray car is definitely the most difficult to beat in the game, although typically it's very easy to beat any of the cars, but randomly through these races, they just get seemingly a big boost and will just fly through these races and beat you one of every 5 races or so. Depending on where you finish in each race, you will get awarded a certain amount of money, and you can also pick up money on the track and things like that as you're going around. But in between each race, you can actually upgrade your vehicle, which is a really nice touch. So you can do the acceleration, the tires, the top speed, the shocks, and purchase additional nitros, which are extremely important. If you look at the numbers at the top of the screen, you can see each vehicle color is labeled at the top, and you can see a number. Like under the pink right now, there's an 18. That means I have 18, well now 17 nitros. And basically the nitros do exactly what you think they would do. They give you a big boost. You can hear while we're racing kind of an explosion sound. That is me hitting the nitro button and trying to get a boost to get around these guys. One of the most difficult and I guess frustrating parts of this is you can waste your nitros if you are stuck against one of the other vehicles, or you hit the nitro and just run into one of the other vehicles and it kills your nitro boost. As you get farther along in the game, and especially after you're finished upgrading all the aspects of your vehicle, all you can spend your money on is nitros, and you will end up maxing out your nitros at 99, and you're basically just hitting that nitro button during the entire race, just zipping around the track. But the opponents are also, especially the gray car. As stated earlier, there is a lot of repetition in the tracks as you're going through this game, so I tried to capture in this footage just the variation in tracks. This is a track named Wipeout and is one of the more destruction derby, quote-unquote, style tracks where you can run into each other in the X in the middle of the track. It doesn't really happen too often, but it can, and you can get stuck on each other. As you can see here, though, I dominate a lot of these races. Like I said before also, sometimes the opponent AI just gets a hair up their butt and just decides to fly around the track. But typically, I'm able to just dominate these races. They duke it out with each other behind me and get stuck on each other and whatever, and I'm usually able to pull away even without using any nitros. When you're in the front of the races, you really don't need to use the nitros, and you just slowly go around the track, which is good because you need to save your nitros for later, and they cost $10,000 a piece, so you do need to save them for later in the game. This race is a good example of what I was stating earlier about the opponent AI, for some reason, just racing faster in some of these races. I lose this race to the gray car because they're just zipping around the track, just dominating, which is totally out of the ordinary in the previous races and the races following this. So just every once in a while, for whatever reason, they just race better. I guess it's just rubber banding AI in this game, but you know, typically they're pretty easy to beat in these qualifying races. So we're getting into race 14 here, which is the final of the qualifying races, and this is a different track. I believe this is the 5th track variation of the qualifying races, and there are more and more as you get later into the game. They do kind of hold them back a bit until you get later in the game. I think in this playthrough I only unlock one more track. So that is one negative about this game. I wish they would let you race on some more variable tracks earlier on in the game. Just to comment on the controls of the game a little bit, all you have to do is steer left and right and use the A button to go and the B button to use your nitro. It's really simple. The tricky part is when you're going over these jumps and mounds of dirt and different things like that. It does kind of mess with your steering a bit, so you have to really get used to how you have to use your left and right steering to get around these turns. But once you get used to it, it's actually really simple. So you can see there that I have maxed out my car, and now I'm just buying nitros, and I'm starting this race with 58 nitros. And if you watch this, you can see the opponents, especially the gray and purple cars, using their nitros all the time. So I have to too. So you really just hammer on that nitro button as you're going around these tracks. I'm making a lot of mistakes here trying to get around these turns. The opponents get so much more difficult as you get further on in this game. I mean, look at Ironman Stewart right now. He is just flying around the track, not making any mistakes, using his nitros, and just zipping around. And he does beat me again here. I think I finished 3rd in this race. And now that we're out of the qualifying races, it's very important to try to win these. Here is the track cliffhanger. This is the last track variation that I end up unlocking in this playthrough. I'm pretty sure there are more as you go along. This is actually a really long game, but you have to keep winning these races or you get disqualified from continuing on, which I end up losing several of these in a row and my game gets ended. But I'm gonna wrap up this review here and give some final thoughts. I really enjoy this game. I played it in the arcade as a kid. I've played it on different platforms. This NES version is actually very good and very enjoyable. Now, I'm only playing this against computer AI opponents. It is considerably more fun when you're playing against friends because you can talk smack to each other. It's a lot more competitive, especially if they're good. That just makes it a lot more fun. But in general, you know, the graphics are what they are. It's just a stationary picture with moving cars. So the graphics are very simple, but they get the job done. The controls are very serviceable and good. It can be kind of hectic and chaotic as you're trying to steer around these tracks and going over these jumps and hitting your nitros. So it does get a little crazy. The music is not the best. You can hear it here. It's not that great. It's okay. It's serviceable. It's okay for this game. But in general, I love this game. It's still fun to come back to and play. I like playing this with friends when they come over. It's always a good time. But thank you all for watching my review of Ironman Stewart Super Off-Road. If you're enjoying the content and like the video, please leave a like and consider subscribing to the channel. And I hope to see you all again soon. Thanks for watching.